There's a statistic that most people never stop to truly think about. 95% of people will reach the end of their lives without ever building real wealth. Not talking about being a billionaire, talking about financial freedom, talking about waking up on a Monday morning and not feeling that tightness in your chest because you do not know if you can pay the bills this month. 95% will never have that. And the most important question is not whether you're going to be part of that group. The question is, are you already part of that group and you simply have not realized it yet? Because the most dangerous thing is not being in the wrong place. The most dangerous thing is believing you are doing everything right while following exactly the pattern that keeps people trapped forever. And this pattern does not shout. It does not show up in front of you asking for attention. It operates in the silence of your daily decisions, in your automatic reactions, in the things you think about money when you are alone in traffic at 7 in the morning. And the most terrifying part, it was built inside you over decades. And you never noticed. In 1908, a 25-year-old journalist was invited to an interview. The man being interviewed was Andrew Carnegie, the richest man in the world at that time. And in that interview, Carnegie made a proposal that would change history. He told the journalist that he had discovered something, a pattern, not about hard work, not about intelligence, not about luck or birthright or connections. It was something far more quiet than any of that, something that separated the men who built empires from the men who spent their entire lives working for those empires. And Carnegie gave that young journalist a mission. Study the 500 most successful and wealthy men in history. Interview them. Find out what they had in common. The journalist accepted. Went on to 20 years later, after hundreds of interviews, after studying men like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Theodore Roosevelt, and John D. Rockefeller, he published a book that would go on to sell over 100 million copies. And inside that book was a discovery that will change the way you see your own life once you truly understand it. But before we get there, you need to understand the problem. Think with me for a moment. You have probably tried to change your financial situation more than once. Maybe you took a course. Maybe you tried investing. Maybe you asked for a raise. Maybe you started a business or tried to start one. Maybe you studied cryptocurrency, stocks, passive income, real estate. And yet, when you look at where you are today, you are close to the same place. You know why? It is not lack of effort. You put in the effort. You try. The problem runs deeper than that. Think about this for a second. Everyone you know who is financially stuck also puts in effort. Your coworker who complains about their salary, they work too. Your neighbor who is always at the financial edge, they wake up early too. Effort is not the deciding factor. So what is? Here's an uncomfortable question. What do you think about most of the time? Not what you think about. What you actually think about. When you wake up in the morning and walk to the bathroom, before you even touch your phone, what is already running in your mind? When you see someone successful on social media, what is your first internal reaction? When you think about asking for a raise, starting a business, or making a bigger investment, what comes first? Possibility or excuse, enthusiasm or fear, belief or doubt? Because the answer to those quiet internal questions is exactly what is building your reality right now. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years trying to answer one question. Why do some people build wealth while others with equal or greater intelligence, effort, and opportunity never do? And the answer he found was deeply unsettling because it was not out there. It was inside. Hill wrote a sentence that sounds simple on the surface, but contains one of the densest ideas ever put on paper. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But most people read that sentence and think it is cheap motivation. It is not. It is an observation of 2,500 years of human behavior compressed into 11 words. And the sentence has two parts that most people ignore entirely: conceive and believe. It is not enough to have the thought. You have to believe it. And here is the core problem. If your mind is programmed for doubt, you will conceive, yes, but you will not believe. And without belief, you will act at the edges. You will try halfway. You will quit at the first obstacle. You will self-sabotage without even realizing it, because your internal belief system is wired to confirm what you already believe to be true. And if you believe, deep down, that wealth is not for you, your behavior will make sure you are right every single time. Hill called this a self-imposed limitation of the mind. And he was even more direct when he wrote that our only limitations are those we create within our own minds. Sit with the weight of that for a moment. Not the circumstances, not the economy, not luck. The beliefs you carry without ever questioning them. Now I am going to show you exactly how this pattern was built inside you. And once you understand this, it will be impossible to unsee it. Think about your childhood. How many times did you hear phrases like these? Money does not grow on trees. Rich people stay rich, and poor people stay poor. Do not be greedy. We are simple people. We do not need much. This is not for people like us. We've never been lucky with money. These phrases sound harmless. They are just words. But the human brain does not distinguish between a casual observation and a life instruction. When it hears something repeatedly during childhood or developing brain, repetition becomes truth. And those phrases were repeated. At home, at school, on television, from the mouths of people you loved and trusted completely. And over time, they stopped being phrases you heard from others. They became beliefs you carry inside you. And beliefs do not just sit quietly in your mind. They shape behavior. You know why so many people who suddenly earn more end up spending everything and returning to the same financial level they were at before? It is not lack of discipline. It is that their internal belief system has a ceiling. And whenever reality pushes past that ceiling, the unconscious system acts to restore balance. The balance of the level you believe you deserve. This is why lottery winners are often broke within a few years. This is why professional athletes who earn millions frequently end their careers with nothing. The money arrived, but the mind was not ready to hold it. And until that internal belief system changes, the result stays the same, no matter how much money comes in. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how this pattern works in everyday life. Not in the big decisions, in the small ones. The ones you do not even notice you are making. You wake up in the morning. Before anything else, the brain is already running its installed patterns. What is your first thought about money that day? For someone operating from a scarcity pattern, another day, same story. For someone operating from an abundance pattern, what can I create today? Two people, same hour of the morning, completely different worlds already being built before breakfast. An opportunity arrives, a new project, a business idea, a chance to learn something new. What is the question you ask yourself internally? Why is this not going to work? Limitation pattern. How can I make this work? Growth pattern. The question seems small, but it determines everything, because the brain does not search for the right answer. It searches for the answer to whatever question you asked. If you asked why it will not work, your brain will find 10 reasons. If you asked how to make it work, your brain will find 10 paths forward. Same situation, different question, completely different outcome. And this happens dozens of times every single day. In every small decision, in every conversation about money, in every opportunity you evaluate. And the accumulation of those small, unconscious choices over months and years is exactly where you are right now. Hill also wrote something that very few people truly understand. You become exactly what you think about most of the time. This is not a metaphor. This is mechanics. Whatever occupies your thoughts repeatedly is what you end up building, whether you want to see or not. The men Napoleon Hill studied had something in common that never showed up in the statistics. It was not just what they did. It was what they thought before they did anything at all. Henry Ford was turned down by investors multiple times. He went bankrupt before creating the Ford Motor Company. He had employees who publicly doubted he could build what he was promising. But Ford had something installed in his mind that no rejection could erase. A clear image of the future he was building. An unshakable belief that it was possible, not because anyone told him it would be easy, but because he had decided, at some deep internal level, that it was inevitable. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times trying to create the electric light bulb. 10,000 failures. When asked about it, he responded with a sentence that most people find inspirational, but very few truly understand. He said, "I have not failed. I have discovered 10,000 ways that do not work." This is not empty optimism. The men Napoleon Hill studied had something in common that never showed up in the statistics. It was not just what they did, it was what they thought before they did anything at all. Henry Ford was turned down by investors multiple times. He went bankrupt before creating the Ford Motor Company. He had employees who publicly doubted he could build what he was promising. But Ford had something installed in his mind that no rejection could erase. A clear image of the future he was building. An unshakable belief that it was possible, not because anyone told him it would be easy, but because he had decided at some deep internal level that it was inevitable. Thomas Edison failed over 10,000 times trying to create the electric light bulb. 10,000 failures. When asked about it, he responded with a sentence that most people find inspirational, but very few truly understand. He said, "I have not failed. I have discovered 10,000 ways that do not work." This is not empty optimism. This is evidence of a belief system completely different from the one most people operate from. For someone running the 95% pattern, failure means, "I am not capable. I should stop." For Edison, failure meant information. Next attempt, same external situation, completely opposite internal systems. One person stops at the third attempt. The other continues through 10,000. And this is why Hill concluded that the greatest obstacle between you and everything you want was never the world out there. It was always the world in here. I want you to stop for a moment and think honestly. Not the version of yourself you show the world. The real version. The one that exists when you are alone. When no one is watching. When you do not need to appear confident or optimistic. What do you actually believe about yourself? Do you truly believe you are capable of building something different from what you have right now? Not hope, not wish, believe. Because there is an enormous difference between wanting something and believing in it. Wanting is conscious, believing is deep. You can want something very badly and at the same time not believe you deserve it. And when those two forces collide inside you, belief always wins. Always, because human behavior is not guided by what we consciously want. It is guided by what we unconsciously believe. And here's the part that might sting a little. If you have tried to change multiple times, and you keep ending up in the same place, it is not because you lack effort. It is because the belief did not change. You changed the action without changing the system that generates the actions. It is like trying to run faster on a treadmill without changing the belt speed. The movement is there, the effort is there, but you stay in the same place, and this is not about blame. You did not consciously choose these patterns. They were installed, but now you have something you did not have before. You have awareness, and awareness is the first step, the only step that truly matters before any other. So here's what the 5% understand that the 95% do not. It is not about doing more, it is about becoming different. There is a fundamental difference between doing the things a wealthy person does and becoming someone who naturally thinks, acts, and decides the way someone who builds wealth does. Most people try to copy the actions. The 5% work on the identity. And identity begins in thought. Hill called this auto-suggestion. The idea that you can deliberately reprogram the patterns that were installed in you. Not magically, not overnight, but systematically, through the conscious repetition of new thoughts, through deliberate decisions that reinforce the new belief, through a stubborn refusal to accept the old pattern as permanent truth. And here's what happens when you begin doing that. At first it feels strange. It feels false. It feels like you are lying to yourself. That is completely normal, because you are creating friction against a pattern that has been repeating for decades. But over time, something shifts. The decisions start to be different. The questions you ask yourself start to be different. The way you respond to opportunities starts to be different. And when the decisions change, the results begin to change. Not immediately, not in a straight line, but inevitably. Because this is the most consistent law that Napoleon Hill identified across more than 500 successful individuals. Change the mental pattern, and the external pattern follows, without exception. Now you understand what separates the two groups. It is not luck. It is not intelligence. It is not who you know. It is the mental pattern you repeat every single day. And the good news is that patterns can be changed. The difficult news is that most people watching this right now will agree with everything they just heard and return to the exact same pattern tomorrow morning. Because the pattern is comfortable, it is familiar, it feels safe, and our brain will always choose the familiar over the better option. Every time. Unless you make a different decision. Not a decision to do things differently, a decision to be different. Starting now. Not because you feel ready, not because the circumstances changed, but because you saw the pattern, and whoever sees it cannot pretend they did not. As Hill wrote near the end of his work, the starting point of all achievement is desire, not the vague desire to want something better. The clear, specific, persistent desire to become someone different. That is the first step. And it is the only step available to you right now. In the next video, I am going to show you the exact method Napoleon Hill called auto-suggestion, how to train your mind in a practical way every single day in less than 10 minutes. Not theory. The actual protocol that the wealthiest men in history used to reprogram their own patterns. If you want to see that video, subscribe to the channel, because when you apply this, you are going to realize that real change never begins out there. It always begins in here.